Kia ora Year 11 and 12. Here are the first couple of questions from last year's algebra exam. So the focus in these is on dealing with negative and fractional powers and then on factorising some quadratics. Here's the first question. Very straightforward. You need to be confident with negative powers for level 2. So this is about as simple as we're going to get this year. This is equal to 3 times 4x to the negative 2. So that's the same as 3 divided by 4x squared. Now, just expanding out the brackets on the denominator, we get 3 over 16x squared. So remember that 4, we go 4 to the power of 2 gives me the 16, and x to the power of 2 gives me x squared. Right, on to part 2. There are several ways you can go here. We've got everything in the brackets to the power of 3 over 2. So I am first going to clean up what's inside the brackets before I go any further. So that equals 16 over x squared to the power of 3 over 2. So that's equal to 16 to the power of 3 over 2 times x squared to the power of 3 over 2. So working first with the denominator, that's equal to x times to the power of 2 times 3 over 2, which gives me x cubed. Now, 16 to the power of 3 over 2, I know some of you are going to do that on your calculator, but it's better, especially if you're thinking about level 3 calculus, to think about what that means. Well, I'll do it over here. 16 to the power of 3 over 2 is the same as 16 to the power of a half, in other words, the square root of 16 to the power of 3. And once you see things like that, you can do most of these ones in your head. The square root of 16 is 4, so it's 4 cubed, which is 64. Okay, so that's my final answer for that one. Now in this question, we have to fully simplify a fraction, and we've got a quadratic in the numerator and a quadratic in the denominator. So you should be thinking about which one of those is easier to factorise first. And what do I always have to check for? Well, remember, we always need to make sure we don't have any common factors in our coefficients. And in this case, we've got them in both. So first, we're going to pull out a factor of 2 here. And in the denominator, we've got a common factor in those three terms of 3. So it's going to be 3 times 3x squared minus 13x minus 10. Now it's very easy to factorise the numerator because it's a difference of 2 squares. So that's what we get there. And then that gives you a clue about what's probably going to happen with the denominator. So if you can do the denominator factorisation by inspection, that's great. But I'm going to do a little brush up on how we use grouping. So over here we've got 3x squared minus 13x minus 10. And now we're going to write that as follows. We need two numbers that multiply together to give me these ones, negative 30. And we need two numbers that add together to give me this one, negative 13. In other words, we're looking for a gap of 13, and then we're going to muck around with the signs. So think about factors of 30 that have got a gap of 13. And hopefully you'll see 15 and 2 pretty quickly, but we need to make one of them a negative, and it's going to be this one here. So now we're going to check that, negative 15 times 2 gives me negative 30. So I can now rewrite 3x squared minus 13x minus 10 by breaking up that middle term. Okay, so I've done this split up on the 13x. Oops. And now we can factorise in 2 stages. We get 3x times x minus 5. Is that right? That's right. Plus 2 times x minus 5, which factorises to give me 3x plus 2 times x minus 5. So now we're ready to pop that back into our expression up here. We have 3x plus 2 times x minus 5. And we can see that we can simplify by dividing top and bottom by x minus 5. What a big mess. Okay, now my final answer works out to be this: 2 times x plus 5 over 3 times 3x plus 2. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.